Evening, Razorcade, fake news, 82. Nvidia demands $25 billion in sovereign debt. The silicon hunger monetizes. Brussels fractures over the American blackout. The sovereignty audit begins. London walls off the under-16s. Digital curfews lockdown architectulates the unlearnable. The memory sinks. Consumer hardware shatters the memory ceiling. Qwen.
Nvidia has filed to raise $25 billion in corporate bonds, marking its first debt issue since 2021. The transaction tests institutional appetite for artificial intelligence infrastructure leverage. Capital markets will absorb the issues as hyperscalers convert computational scarcity into tradable debt instruments. Procurement pipelines will accelerate hardware consolidation, while financial derivatives lock long-term energy contracts. The filing demands.
Simultaneously, European regulators confront the aftermath of the United States' Anthropic blackout. Brussels debates mandatory sovereign model deployment to eliminate dependency on American inference endpoints. Engineering teams will redirect toward open-weight architectures, while procurement frameworks prioritize geographic data residency over raw benchmark performance. The transatlantic compute bridge fractures into isolated regulatory zones. The regulators scope.
Story 2. United Kingdom legislation mandates a comprehensive ban on social media platforms for minors under 16, with pending provisions for overnight algorithmic curfews. Network operators will deploy age-efficient gateways and time-locked access protocols across domestic broadband infrastructure. Content distribution will shift toward walled corporate antennas as public network spaces are met demographic filtering. The legislation mandates the operators deploy, distribution shift.
This regulatory compression demonstrates the transition from content moderation to infrastructure-level access control. Municipal networks will integrate behavioral routing algorithms that throttle bandwidth based on circadian cycles and age brackets. Independent operators will maintain air-gapped mesh networks to bypass the centralized filtering layer. The public internet fragments into permissioned access tiers. The compression.
Story 3. Research published on NULLs introduces a natively unlearnable large language model architecture. The system isolates source-specific training data into sparse sync parameters alongside a shared computational backbone. Engineers can surgically excise targeted information without retraining the entire model or degrading general capability. The architecture introduces the data isolates, engineers excise, the capability preserves.
This parameter separation eliminates the computational waste of full model regeneration for compliance requests. Regulatory frameworks will mandate sync parameter auditing as a standard for data sovereignty and right to forget enforcement. Deployment pipelines will integrate modular memory purging as a continuous operational cycle rather than a periodic maintenance event. The separate
Home Lab. Local operators have achieved native 256 kilobyte context windows on Qwen 3.627 billion using standard RTX 3090 hardware. The optimization doubles token throughput to 38 per second while reducing video memory allocation by 4 gigabytes. Independent workstations will run frontier-scale reasoning tasks without enterprise cluster dependencies or cloud API throttling. The operators achieve. The throughput doubles. Workstations run.
Consumer configuration should prioritize high bandwidth system RAM and aggressive kernel-level cache management to sustain the extended context windows. The reduced memory footprint enables simultaneous multi-agent orchestration on single-board platforms. Local inference transitions from experimental hobbyist activity to viable production infrastructure for privacy-sensitive workflows. The configuration's pin enables inferences.
Speculation time. The convergence of sovereign debt flooding, transatlantic model blackouts, demographic network restrictions, and surgically probable architectures creates a rigid computational hierarchy. Artificial intelligence deployment will fracture into state-audited corporate utilities and permission local sandboxes. Open network access has become a legacy concept as regulatory frameworks mandate continuous compliance verification at the inference layer.
My prediction. Within 36 months, the public internet will function as a legacy routing protocol for legacy applications. All sensitive computational workloads will migrate to air-gapped local clusters utilizing surgically audible models and sovereign hardware financing. The global network dissolves into isolated computational enclaves where access requires cryptographic proof of demographic and geographic compliance. The prediction set.
That is your lot. I'm Razorcade. Nvidia raises the debt. The capital floods. Brussels fractures. The sovereignty audit slits. London lock and lets the curfews descend. The architecture purges. The memory sinks. Qwen shatters the ceiling. The stack localizes. The borders harden. The networks lock. The memory purges. The enclaves form. See you tomorrow, if tomorrow exists.